If you found this series, you're here because you want to know how to succeed at Hearthstone without spending a dime. I will be your guide, teaching you how to farm the arena, get gold, rank up, and how best to craft your favorite cards, all while staying free to play. In this series, you'll learn how to maximize gold gains from quests, how to craft the perfect arena deck, and finally get past any walls you hit in ranked play. Stick around while we embark on our Hearthstone free-to-play journey. What's up guys, Sirius here. On my last episode, I talked about building our first deck, and we went into ranked play for the first time. We did rather well, actually. If you missed that episode, go ahead and give it a click. Without further ado, let's jump right into the topics today. First, I'm going to go into how a mana curve operates, and then we're going to go into how efficiently you can trade and maintain board control. Finally, we're going to jump into the arena and build our first arena deck. So let's get the first part out of the way, mana curve. In short, your mana curve is how the cost of all the cards in your deck pan out. Generally speaking, it will determine how easily and powerfully you can play cards on each turn. For instance, if you often have a bunch of high-cost cards in your hand during early game turns, it's generally the result of a poor mana curve. Firstly, the traditional bell curve, or a smooth curve. Mid-range decks and control decks, your best choice while learning, generally follow this curve. This type of curve helps guarantee that you'll be able to do what is called playing on curve. What this means is that you'll be able to draw a 1-cost card on turn 1 and play it, a 2-cost card on turn 2, so on and so forth. This lets your cards ramp up in power alongside your opponent, instead of falling behind, or overcommitting to a board and getting it wiped out. Second, we have the sloping curve, or the early game curve. Rush decks like Hunter, Mech, and Zoo that want to win early will generally use a curve like this. They want to win before your opponent has a chance to play their high-cost key cards. Zoolock really enjoys curves like this because it likes to use a ton of low-cost cards and counterbalance that cost with using their hero power, which lets them quickly replace those low-cost, weak cards, thus overwhelming the opponent very quickly. Third, we have ramping curves, or late-game curves. Druids use curves like this due to cards like Innervate that allow for early game dominance with high mana cost cards. Mana curves like this help ensure that late game cards come earlier and that you'll consistently have them alongside a superior game state due to higher mana from wild growth and board control with your stronger creatures in the earlier stages of the game. Finally, we have sporadic curves. These are curves that look off, where mana is everywhere on the table with seemingly no rhyme or reason. There are two types of decks that usually sit in this category. Bad decks, generally built by new and inexperienced players, or decks that operate outside of a standard mana curve. Examples of this are mid-range Shaman that has a different curve to other decks due to its overload mechanic, or Handlock, which operates completely off of the normal axis of the game. Next, let's talk about board presence, board control, and efficient trading. In a nutshell, board control is my ability to maintain a presence on the game board over and above what my opponent has. Efficient trading is your ability to utilize one card to destroy multiple cards your opponent controls. These concepts together should allow you to exhaust your opponent's supply of cards while maintaining what's known as card advantage, having more cards in total than your opponent. Sen'jin Shieldmaster, for example, is a great card for forcing your opponent to use multiple cards to get rid of one of your own, as he has high health and trades with multiple smaller minions well. Notice how all game, instead of going for his face and trying to win the game faster, all I do is destroy his cards. This gets me card advantage and helps me maintain a powerful board presence. Or simply put, I'm trying to have more cards on the board than he has. Because I've traded efficiently all game, when he drops his big minions, I'm more than prepared for them since I have plenty of resources to dip into while he has none left. That's not to say that you shouldn't go for their face, ever. Sometimes it's more advantageous to go for your opponent's face and threaten them with bodily harm. But in the type of deck that we've built, it's generally better to destroy their cronies and keep their family from punishing us for the lunch money we're relentlessly beating out of them. Keep in mind how often my opponent has attempted to go for my face and how well it has ultimately helped him in the end. Remember, we've only got 2 cards in our deck that are not from the basic set, so we're on completely even ground during this match. All end results are boiling down to nothing more than our decision making. So remember, trade efficiently with their minions, maintain board presence, and exercise board control, and you'll ultimately end up having smoother games. And with that, go ahead and enjoy the rest of the match while we prepare to enter the arena for the first time. Finally, let's go into the arena. The arena does a few things for us. It lets us learn how to play with cards we don't own yet, and it nets us sweet loot. Since we're experienced with warriors already, let's pick Garrosh as our hero and start building the deck. Out of these guys, the Molten Giant's big and easy to drop out, so let's use that. We already have experience with Arcanite Reaper. Whirlwind lets us clear multiple cards off the board. And let's go ahead and pick Gorehowl, since killing more creatures is good. More control is something that we'll need, since in Arena you'll get fewer spells and more creatures. Out of this, let's get a card that'll heal us, Kor'kron Elite to charge and kill them faster. We don't have any really good picks out of this, so let's pick Axe Flinger to kill him faster. Scarlet Crusader is always a good pick. Again, we're stuck with no good picks here though, so let's pick that one. Execute lets us kill cards, Razorfen Hunter for board presence, War Axe to control. We already have some weapons, so let's get Dread Corsair for synergy. Speaking of synergy, more weapons. Cruel Taskmaster is amazing. Let's get some big creatures and fill in that slot. We're down to no good picks here, so let's just pick for our mana curve. Right here, we already know War Axe is good, and again, we're stuck with only a few good picks. We have no spells for Azure Drake, so let's go ahead and get Upgrade. That'll give us a little more synergy with our weapons. Speaking of weapons, let's pick our Acidic Swamp Ooze, make sure they don't have any weapons. And we have a lot of small creatures, so let's get Warsong Commander, synergize with those. Alright, so we're stuck with a lot of small creatures. Let's get Raid Leader to make them a little bigger. And let's pick Rampage out of this so our small creatures can become threats later on. Speaking of multiple small creatures, that Stormwind Champion will probably help them get buffed up. Ironfur Grizzly to protect him, another Kor'kron Elite. And right now, let's go ahead and get another Rampage. More power for them, more board presence, and ending on a Shield Maiden for mana curve. With that, let's go ahead and jump right in, and we don't want that Axe Flinger, and let's go ahead and get a perfect curve in our hand. So we know that the Hunter is going to try to burst us down, or at least we think so. We don't know what he's built, so let's go ahead and keep his field clear, as per usual. He's going to pop out with a Shield Bearer, and we don't feel like wasting a weapon on that just yet. He drops out a Shaded Naxxramas, and that's easy enough for us to deal with. Let's bring out a Scarlet Crusader. He's going to go ahead and make sure that we don't have that with a Deadly Shot, but he makes the mistake of using his Shade early, so we can clear that off the board now. Now that he's left without his late game option that he dropped down early, he's going to go ahead and search for some more cards and bring out a Panther. Now that Panther's really good, so let's ready up a weapon and make sure that it'll be gone soon. He gets a perfect card here though with Multi-Shot, and knocking our health down a little further puts us in a bad situation, but Shield Maiden gives us the health we need to knock that Panther out without suffering any heavy losses. So right now we're really ahead, and I feel like he's actually falling super behind. So let's keep that up, let's make sure that he doesn't have any cards. And what does he do? Ponders. Ponders a lot. Cobra Shot knocks out our big creature, knocks out some of our health, gets rid of our other creature, but he leaves our Raid Leader up so we can swarm the board with some really effective minions. He heals back up and brings out Web Spinner, which doesn't really put us in a tight situation. Let's slam it to make it easier to kill and draw a card out of it. Go ahead and heal up, bring out Warsong Commander so we'll be able to play our minions and kill him immediately whenever they come out later. He brings out the terrible creature he got out of that, Salty Dog, which I guess that's really good. He got a creature to pull out something out of his deck. But let's go ahead and make sure that big creature is completely nullified with the Execute we picked up early, and go for the face. His turn comes up, and he lays the last few things he has out, and that's the game, folks. Sadly, that's all the time we have for today, but tune in next time and we'll finish up our arena run and then get into something super interesting, Disenchanting. Hey, welcome to the end of the video. If you made it this far, then you probably enjoyed what you saw. If you did, you should definitely click on that little subscribe button there, and it actually helps out a lot. It lets me know that you like what I'm doing, and it lets you see more of my stuff. It's a win-win. Also, if you want to see the first episode of this series, go ahead and click on the bottom right-hand corner, and that'll take you to that video. Anyways, thanks for watching. Cirrus, signing out.